During the Crusades in the year 1119, a group of 9 men were assigned to protect what the Christians and Jews know as the Temple of Solomon, current-day location of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. As it was written in the Quran, Sulaiman, or Solomon, king of the Israelites, peace be upon him, was given great powers by Allah. He conversed with animals, controlled the winds, and governed both men and jinn by God's leave. The jinn were a source of magical teaching, and as a result, the things that they taught were recorded in books. In order to protect people from the mischief of these books, Sulaiman, peace be upon him, buried them under his throne. Eventually, those 9 men, by the help of the shayateen, or devils, found the buried books and started the order of the temple governed by the Knights Templar. It did not take the Templars long to grow, and they had a powerful advocate in Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, who was a leading church figure at the time. By 1129, the Knights Templar were officially recognized by the church and eventually started receiving charitable contributions in the form of money, land, and trade. Noblemen from Christian lands began joining the movement, resulting in the growth of the order. The Knights Templar were known amongst the Christians for their dominant military power and were used as the main opposition in the Crusade wars against Salah ad-Din's Muslim armies. It was not long till Salah ad-Din reclaimed the Holy Land and defeated the Christians. The Templars fled to their lands in Syria. However, later they were forced out because of the Muslim reclamation of Syrian lands. Later on, though, the order spread to Europe, and even though the Templars lost their foothold in the Middle East, they were still rich due to the contributions and support that they had received over the years. The Knights Templar owned vineyards, arable lands, churches, and engaged in trade. They also adopted the system of usury, where they functioned as moneylenders throughout Europe. They were lending people money even though usury was still forbidden in Christianity. It was not until the Second Christian Crusade where the Pope formed an agreement with the Templars, where if they would fund the Crusades, he in exchange would declare interest legal in Christendom. In the year 1307, King Philip IV of France, who was deeply indebted to the order from his war with the English, issued an arrest to every member of the Templars, and proclaimed the arrest of Philip de Molay, the Grand Master of the order, who was at the time discussing matters with Pope Clement V. The arrest warrant read, Dieu n'est pas content, nous avons des ennemis de la foi de la royaume. God is not pleased, we have enemies of the faith in the kingdom. The Templars were charged with numerous offenses, including apostasy, idolatry, heresy, obscene rituals, homosexuality, financial corruption, fraud, and secrecy, acts inspired from the buried books now found. After they had confessed to their crimes, a majority were burned at the stake. The remaining members of the order either joined different orders like the Knights Hospitallers, or fled to lands outside papal control, such as those in Scotland. Some of the remaining members simply changed their names or created newly named orders which still exist to this day. Their web of control spread to England, Ireland, and Wales when King James of Scotland, who was a member of the order, was proclaimed King of England in 1601.
واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان وما كفر سليمان ولكن الشياطين كفروا يعلمون الناس السحر وما أنزل على الملكين ببابل هاروت وماروت وما يعلمان من أحد حتى يقولا إنما نحن فتنة فلا تكفر فيتعلمون منهما ما يفرقون به بين المرء وزوجه وما هم بضارين به من أحد إلا بإذن الله ويتعلمون ما يضرهم ولا ينفعهم ولقد علموا لمن اشتراه ما له في الآخرة من خلاق ولبئس ما شروا به أنفسهم لو كانوا يعلمون.
Adam Weishaupt, a Jesuit-trained professor of canon law, well versed in the occult, formed a new secret organization that would unite all the secret societies for an unthinkable purpose: to gain complete control over the world and its resources, and to achieve total domination of its people. Weishaupt euphemistically described it as a new world order.
Certain that we stand at a defining hour. Halfway around the world, we are engaged in a great struggle in the skies and on the seas and sands. We know why we're there. We are Americans, part of something larger than ourselves. For 2 centuries, we've done the hard work of freedom, and tonight we lead the world in facing down a threat to decency and humanity. What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations
His
of man.
diabolical brotherhood was founded on a synthesis of the themes of secret societies that had gone before. He skillfully combined Masonic secret rituals and knowledge, the assassins' Islamic mysticism, killing arts, and use of hashish, the Priory of Zion's influential membership, and the Templars' wealth, power, military science, and vendetta against the Catholic Church. To that, he added his own knowledge of the occult. It was not an accident that he chose May the 1st, a very important date on the Satanic calendar, for the founding of his society. The group was called the Illuminati. The public translation was intellectually inspired. But Weishaupt himself said in private that the word was derived from Lucifer and meant holders of the light. The official seal of the Brotherhood was a mystical, unfinished pyramid, and an eye above it with rays of light emanating in all directions. The eye represented the all-seeing, all-knowing nature of the illuminated Brotherhood reigning above the world. To his followers, the founder listed the 5 top secret primary means that would be used to accomplish his dark goal of total world domination. 1. Monetary and sex bribery would be used to gain control of men already in high places in the various levels of all governments and other fields of endeavor. 2. The Illuminati, who were on the faculty of colleges and universities, were to cultivate the best students for the cause. 3. Influential people and specially trained students under the control of the Brotherhood would be placed behind the scenes of all government, religious, and financial institutions and used as agents. 4. The secret society would develop absolute domination of the media so that all news and information could be slanted to convince the masses that a one-world government is the only solution to our many problems. 5. The final phase of the operation would employ all resources in place to initiate military coups that would overthrow all opposing governments and put the world under one global government controlled by the Illuminati. The group was originally composed of 32nd-degree Masons and used various Masonic lodges as recruiting grounds and fronts. The highest-ranking Mason to be recruited was a nobleman from North Germany, Baron Knigge. In a startling revelation within the classified documents we obtained, we find proof that the Illuminati infiltrated the Soviet Union and the KGB. These communiques between 2 high-level KGB agents actually refer to the original illuminated one, Adam Weishaupt, by name. They go on to allude to a connection with 2 past rulers of Russia, Joseph Stalin and Nikita Khrushchev. Our mission to place agents within the walls of the Vatican is a goal that the founder Weishaupt talked about 200 years ago. It is something that has been attempted through the years by both Stalin and Khrushchev with no success. But I believe we can finally do it this time. What's more, in the lab, our investigators made an alarming discovery. A magnified view reveals that an unnoticeable dot, the period at the end of the final sentence on the page, is actually a seal. It is the unfinished pyramid with an iron triangle above it. The official insignia of the Illuminati, a marking used by the secret society since its creation in 1776.
Freemasons, and as Elaine Quijano tells us this morning, it is a secret society that is still very well represented in Washington.
John and Kieran, for all the conspiracy theories about Freemasons, this much is true. They can still be found at the highest levels of American government.
From the Capitol to the White House, Freemasons throughout history have freely roamed the halls of power in Washington. 9 of the men who signed the Declaration of Independence were Freemasons, as were more than a dozen U.S. presidents, including George Washington, who famously laid the cornerstone of the Capitol building clad in his ceremonial Masonic apron. These days, Masons can still be found in powerful government positions, but getting someone to chat about it can sometimes be tricky.
I'm doing healthcare.
Senator Mike Enzi didn't break stride while explaining why he's part of the secretive society.
It's a brotherhood built on constructing good men.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322.